Hola, welcome to Yogi Tea Time, episode 32. This is Steph. Cheers to you. So I'm really sorry, but I'm very late today. And I was just trying to get this, my new setup to work. So today is episode 32 of the Yogi Tea Time virtual tea break. Today I am drinking coffee, and I know I had some issue with this mic yesterday, but I'm going to figure out what's wrong. But in the meantime, I think it still has a better sound than my other mic, so I'm going to use it for now. So thank you so much for your patience while I figure it out. This was supposed to be a up leveling, but as I've mentioned yesterday, things have been feeling stuck for me during this full moon. So these type of things happen. So cheers to you. But today we'll be focusing on joy. So let me know if you're joining live or if you're joining us on replay, where you're tuning in from, and what your favorite drink is. Your favorite drink. So normally I drink tea for this tea time to encourage you to take an afternoon break and engage in high vibe, deep conversations to help us raise our vibration and inspire us to create what we are born to create here. So let me know in the chat or in the comments what you're looking forward to in this holiday season and what brings you joy. So today I'm going to keep it pretty casual, but talk about what brings joy. And I'll be sharing some personal stories and keep it fairly short, but I say that all the time. I notice that I can't be short. I always say I'm going to keep it brief and short, and then I end up talking a lot, and the video always gets longer. So I've just accepted it. But you can come in and out anytime you would like. And if you're joining us on the chat, live chat can be used to interact with each other. And I've created this YouTube live series, Yogi Tea Time, because one thing that always brought me joy is being at coffee shops and just feeling the vibe. So even if I'm just sitting alone, reading or working on projects, and also I used to go there to study when I was going to university instead of going to the library. I think I spent more time at coffee shops, and coffee definitely. I do love like great latte art, and I do love cappuccino and latte. So I do love coffee, the depth and the earthiness and the taste of the coffee. I have a very sensitive palate. I've always been very sensitive to smell, so that's why when I go to like baby shower and play those games where you identify the baby food, I always win. And even though I don't really drink much because I get migraines and I'm allergic to alcohol, I used to be in a wine club, so I do love like great wine and just learning all the notes and the the all the different tastes I can identify. So, I used to be in a wine club with my coworkers back when I was doing graphic design. At that time, I was very social. So I go in and out of being very social or just being very introverted. But my nature is introvert, so I don't enjoy things that just bring me joy. I need a lot of time alone by the ocean. I love being with my dog. So, as empaths, highly sensitive people, nature is very um, healing and brings lots of joy. And alone time is very much of a time for peace. And that's when you can really get in touch with your own truth of what brings you joy. So, I just wanted to start this conversation with that. And this morning I was walking my dog, Daisy, and the thing, that's like one of the things I do every morning that I'm always very grateful for. And that's the time that I really enjoy being with my dog and just having that time for a walk, because walking is very healthy and meditative. And a lot of times, if you don't have a dog, it's kind of hard to take yourself on a walk. And you can always make an excuse not to walk that day. But when you have a dog, you have to, whether it's rainy or if you live in a cold weather, when it's snowing, it's always required that you walk the dog unless you're a negligent dog owner. So that's like a joyful activity I do every morning. And while I was walking, I was thinking about the Yogi Tea Time series. And it doesn't matter if one person watches or it grows to be like hundreds or thousands, which is my goal. I'm still dedicated to showing up because it's what I enjoy and believe in doing, and creating that creative atmosphere, the vibe, the environment of going to a coffee shop. And it's nice to hang out with friends and have conversations, catch up, but also just to study or do your artwork. I know that studies have found that coffee shops and open spaces also induce creativity. And J.K. Rowling, who's one of the most successful authors, while she was struggling single mom, wrote all the Harry Potter series in a coffee shop in Scotland. So this is part of the reason why this idea. Also, I got downloaded during dream state or meditation, or sometimes I just get these when I'm walking in silence or walking my dog. These ideas kind of come to me, and when they come strongly, I follow. So living in joy is honoring that small whisper, and oftentimes these great ideas that are aligned to your higher self, your truth, the essence of who you are at the root level. When you peel off all the onions, the layers of the facade that we put to assimilate to society, be accepted and loved by friends and family, coworkers, be accepted by society. Oftentimes we have to put on so many layers of masks. But once you peel away all that is when you tap into the essence of who you are. And that's what these practices of yoga and Reiki, the meditation, breath work that I share on this channel helps you to do, going within and finding that inner sparkle so that your joy is found and based on your pure essence at the root level, not based on external factors. So no matter what's going on, what challenges you're facing, obstacles that's put in front of you, you can always tap into that sense of joy, peace, and love. That is your birthright. That is your true essence at the core. And that goes for all of us, regardless of what your background is, races, where you are on the spiritual journey, and also honoring our differences, honoring that one has their own path and own timing. So this is to really honor that. And I'm here to hold space through these conversations. And, I focus more on supporting empaths as an empath myself. And I was also told that a lot of people don't like to use that label, empath, to identify themselves. But I use it very proudly. It's also known as highly sensitive person, or like creative intuitives are usually in that category. We make up only 1 or 2% of the population, so that's why it's harder to connect with people. Oftentimes you feel like the black sheep, you feel weird, out of place, and then you get to dishonor your joy, what brings you joy. And that's why I am building this community online on YouTube to facilitate and hold space to help you move through that, so that you can really tap into your joy at the truest essence of what that is for you. And then that's going to lead you to tap into what you're here to create and get that creative juices to be unleashed and flourish. So that is my hope for you through cultivating more joy. So that could be a personal thing or professional. It doesn't matter. So that's what the authentic creativity is. You get to put your soul print to create that what you're here to create, that only you can provide to the world. Just like all our fingerprints are different, your soul imprints are also very unique. And even if it's the same thing, the intention and what you put out is all very dependent on cultivating and tapping into and honoring that inner joy. And then the creativity is from that. And then we're in December, so I'm wearing my favorite holiday sweater. It's very California. It's the dog, Californian dog. And even though we don't get snow or real winter here, I still like to celebrate. I'm very sensitive to cold from living in California for so long. So I do need to wear sweaters, and I'm often in like bomber jackets. So, things that bring me joy are dogs, beach, the sun, and coffee, tea, coffee houses, coffee shops, and then I'm creating that virtual coffee shop. So YouTube has been bringing a lot of joy, especially during this last 2 years of the pandemic that we just went through. And I'm wishing you joy through the holiday season, and that's the main reason I wanted to come on here today, is just to send you lots of love and positive energy, a lot of Reiki energy for more joy throughout the December, which is the holiday season. It's supposed to be the joyous time of the year, but oftentimes you could feel very lonely. It could make you feel more down. But the more that you focus on what brings you joy and the smallest things, then that's going to help you cultivate more, because what you focus on grows more. So you want on what feelings are present for you without denying, but then you want to let it process, work through, so that you can tap onto the joy. So another thing that really brings me lots of joy is music. I'm a huge music lover, and I haven't been able to go to as many concerts as much as I do all these spiritual practices for self-care. One of my most favorite ways to raise my vibration and really cultivate joy from within is being a fangirl. And I have my favorite artists. I love musicians that are truly dedicated to being an artist versus being more mainstream and following trends. And that's what this authentic creativity means to me also. And of course, I like very old school, deep soul music, the R&B, hip hop, especially from the 90s. As much as I love all the healing music, yoga music as well. Those are that really fuels my soul and brings me lots of joy. And even when I was a graphic designer, I always have music on, and that does something to really help me create. And this is going into the woo-woo, so if you don't resonate with it, you can ignore. But I'm definitely feel like I'm resonated to the Syrian starseed lineage. And recently, in the last year, I've discovered what's called a minminkan. They're even more in tune with music and dolphins and whales, the ocean life, the turquoise like beach. One of these days, my dream is to, go swim with the dolphins and do a yoga retreat, Reiki retreat there in the Bahamas, and maybe go to Maldives. And I love water slides, swings, bubbles, bubble gums. Those are all the things that brings me joy, that fuels my inner child. So I just did a Reiki circle, virtual Reiki circle last night for the Gemini full moon. So this is a really time to tune in to what brings you joy. Let go of the limiting beliefs, other people's expectations, or trying to people please and try to do things to meet expectations, but instead fueling your own joy, your own truth, and cultivating your own path, even though it might look crazy to others, and dedicating yourself to you. So one thing that was recommended is to really nurture your inner child. And that's where also the true joy lies in. You can, if you forgot what brings you joy, sometimes we get so wrapped up in our responsibilities and our 9 to 5 routine and just surviving and living, that you forget or you deny yourself. You feel guilty if you take some time not being productive to do things that brings you joy. And you feel guilty about it. That's how we've been programmed. But what brings you joy is going to ultimately brings you to your authentic creativity that you're here to contribute. So it is not a time wasted. And there's a term called, there's actually a term called stress. Let me just find that. Stress laxing. I'm going to try to share this. See if it's gonna come on screen. Let me just open this file so that you can see the definition of what stress. Here you go. So stress laxing, it means being stressed, that relaxing makes you more stressed because you're not working on what's making you stress, which is like an oxymoron. So it's important to be aware of this concept so that you can tap into more joy, because once you get into this state of stress laxing, it's really going to deny joy. It's the biggest joy killer. So that's what I wanted to share. And whenever you feel that, I think the best way to get out of these kind of thoughts of guilt is 4 agreements or any kind of affirmations that reminds you that you deserve rest. It's your birthright to rest. It's your birthright to, and spacing out, creating that space of pause, play. Those are all, and just being in joy, things that makes you joyful. These are all contribution to what's gonna make you happen to create that authentic creativity you're here to create. And it doesn't mean you have to create like a physical thing, but the 4 agreements by Miguel Dan Ruiz is very simple. It's one of my favorite books that I came across when I first started going into this spiritual journey. And it's basically not being worried, not being, so I'm going to read to you the 4 agreements. Do not, okay, here's the, be impeccable with your word. So you're being mindful about what you put out so that you don't bring down someone else's joy, and learning to say things kindly, but at the same time, you want to speak your truth. Speaking with integrity, and then that way you're not bringing down someone else, but you're not being brought down by them either. Don't take anything personally. So I'm going to share this also. I'm going to be sharing a lot on my screen today. Oh yeah, let me just make that. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. And so these are very simple, but sometimes really hard to apply, and it's very hard to live by sometimes, especially when these moments of conflicts come about. So these assumption, we make stories in our head and then run it, and it can go really wilder than what's really happening. So to be mindful of that. So those are the things to really, when your mind spirals out away from joy, these are the four agreements are the ones that really helps, at least it's helped me stay in joy and more grounded. Always do your best. So your best, depending on what's going on. If you're sick, you're low energy, you're tired, your best is gonna be different from on the days that you feel vibrant, energetic. So you wanna do your self-care, stay in that energetic, vibrant mode, but at the same time, honor that when you do feel run down and tired, that you do what's necessary, and just showing up and knowing that you did your best. And that's all you can ask for, and your best is different every day. And being very gentle with yourself, especially with this full moon energy, when there's a lot of stuckness, frustration, angers that come out. You want to honor what is true for you, let yourself feel, let it work through so it doesn't get stuck in your body and become pain or tension, and that you can feel lighter and more joyful. So it is also important to honor. And go back to music. My favorite artists from the 80s. So I loved all the 70s music growing up, listening to my aunts, when they were young women. I used to watch them get ready for work or ready to go out, listening to like the 70s music, even though I was a very little girl. Even then, I really loved like Bee Gees, the disco era. I think those are era that really had music that just had a lot of joy. Earth, Wind and Fire. Of course, Stevie Wonder. But my favorite that I've been dedicated, I love being like fangirl. I think it makes me feel young, no matter what age I am. It makes me feel like a teenage girl. And I love fangirling. And, if I could, I just like not be a groupie, but buy tickets to like the VIP and first row seats to, and then one of my fantasies is just to like go traveling and do a whole tour. I have a friend who does that all the time. I think that would be fun to do, but right now that's not my priority. But I think it's one of those things that might be fun to do, because I do love music so much, and concerts definitely like bring me lots of joy. The live music, and I love Common. He's my favorite hip hop artist, conscious lyrics, and really beautiful, high vibration music that speak the truth, raise awareness. And I've learned a lot from him. So, and I love Erica Badu, all the neo soul genre. Maxwell is definitely my favorite also. And Prince and Michael Jackson, of course. And from the 80s, I really love Culture Club, Boy George, George Michael, Wham, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Jill Scott, like all those artists, Alicia Keys. You know, so Mary J. Blige, of course. I've even flown to Arizona to watch Mary J. Blige with a friend of mine that moved there from California. So we both love Mary. And then I also love Latin music, all the bossa nova songs and Sade, and the Brazilian version of Sade is Eva Mendes. So she kind of combines English and Portuguese. I just love languages. And one of the things I used to love doing is travel. Traveling always like gets me high energy, brings me a lot of high energy. And that's when I really like to go out and explore. And when I'm not traveling, I like to stay home more. As for yoga music, I really love Satnam Kaur. She's amazing. And Wa, a lot of the Kundalini music, as well as Deva Premal. Those are the mantra singers. And for Reiki music, I love Steve Halpern, which I shared on my last Reiki full moon. And there's also an artist I love playing during yin yoga for grounding. He does cello. And that's, I think his name, I forgot his name, kind of escapes me right now. But it's also Stephen. I'm going to back to that next. But I'm going to look it up. And yeah, so music is just something that I love. And I've been to many concerts. And during the pandemic, while I'm looking for the yin yoga, the cello artist, I spent a lot of time during the pandemic listening to, being part of the CQ. Oh yeah, the Roots are definitely one of them. Soul Rising for yoga music, he's one of my favorite. And let me see, Dave Stringer, that's another musician I love for yoga music. But I spent a lot of time listening to D-Nice DJing on Instagram. So I'm definitely part of the Club Quarantine. So if you're a Club Quarantine fam, let me know in the comments. And also the Questlove of the Roots. India Ari, of course. She has beautiful soul music, but she also is very spiritual. She's a yogi, and she has a lot of spiritual songs. And I can go on and on. And then, yeah, this one musician I really wanted to share. Yeah, be nice. I went to the Club Quarantine. That's the only concert I've been to at the Hollywood Bowl. And Hollywood Bowl is definitely my favorite venue in LA. especially during summertime. So they do beautiful. It's outdoors. So that's what I really love, and music is just my life. I used to play the flute, the piano, but I love appreciating music more so than performing or trying to be a musician. So let me know, share with me what your favorite music is, what genre. And then lately, I've been getting into K-pop, but I wouldn't say I'm a fan of K-pop per se. I'm a fan of artists and hip-hop and R&B. So of all the K-pop bands, I like the more second generation music that's more in line with what I listen to. But I'm just grateful that the K content or the Korean content is becoming more popular worldwide. It's just something I'm proud of as a Korean American, and so I wanted to get more into that by tapping in. And this is also a great time to really honor your lineage and ancestors. So tapping into my culture that you cannot lose touch with living abroad. So I'm relearning a lot of Korean through the songs and music and drama, TV shows. They're a great way to learn another language and learn about culture. So another thing that I love is the Italian language, Portuguese. I just love the sound of those languages, and traveling. Of course, food. I love Italian food. I could eat pasta all day if I don't gain weight. But I try to eat a lot of superfood. But I think at the beginning of my yoga teacher journey, I did a lot of juicing and detoxing to like really feel vibrant with food, what you put in. But I've kind of got relaxed with that the last few years and just been more, letting myself enjoy food more. But at the same time, I love starting my day with like a nice clean juice, superfood, incorporating a lot of superfood as much as I can. But I do love good food and cooking. Cooking is really good. When you learn to work with herbs, a lot of herbs. I'm looking for my playlist. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time. Yin Yoga. There you go. Garth Stevenson, The Southern Sea. That's the album. It's a beautiful cello music. And recently I read that of all the instruments, cello, the frequency, the sound that cello makes is closest to our heart. It impacts our heart the closest. So yeah, that music just, when I'm practicing yin or when I just want to relax and feel grounded, it's one of my Stevenson is what I hardly recommend and that I enjoy. So I think that's what pretty much wraps up things that brings joy. And of course, anybody that brings me laughter, I can laugh with easily. Those are the people that I'm the most attracted to and want to form any type of relationship with, whether it's business or personal. So I think it's one of the factors that I really look for, laughing. If you can laugh with someone, people with good sense of humor, which is why I love stand-up comics. I love Margaret Cho. Those are always just things that make you laugh, that also elevates your joy. And it's Trevor Noah, Dave Chappelle. Those are my favorite stand-up. Ali Wong. So those are the, I would say, the top comedian for me. Especially Trevor Noah. I just love when he does all the different accents. And the latest one he has on the Netflix was the gem, the part where he goes to the Indian restaurant in Scotland. So I highly recommend that. It's on Netflix right now. And as I've mentioned, I love of K-pop. I love IU, Shiny, all the solo work of Shiny, especially Jonghyun. And Minho just released his first solo mini album. So I've been really enjoying those. And all their live concerts on YouTube. And first I attended his fan meeting performance online for the first time. Yes, last night on Beyond Live, and also I also love 2 p.m. and especially Taegyeon, because he's a Korean American that moved back to Korea, so I think I resonate with him a lot too. So those are things that bring me joy. So please share with me what brings you joy, the type of food that you love. And of course, I love eating out too, but I've been cooking more. And then I briefly brought this up last night on my YouTube, on the Reiki healing. And definitely YouTube, this opportunity to connect and share on YouTube. It's what really brings me joy. And in 2023, I'm very much dedicated into really going all in and upgrading. That's why I got the new lights. I keep doing things to upgrade, to bring you better quality content. And I'm also open to your inputs too. So please share what's helped, what hasn't, what you want. And of course, my mission is to help you find more joy. I don't know, I'm getting this shadow here. Okay, get rid of that shadow. Yeah. So I just created this gratitude journal, and I got introduced to writing gratitude journal during I was introduced to it about over 10 years ago by Oprah. So I've been keeping gratitude journal, and then I kind of, for a long time, and that really put me on the path of yoga and in the spiritual awakening. A lot of things happened that year 2000, was it 2009, 2009 through 11 was like biggest shift for me. That put me on this path of teaching yoga, and then that led me to getting into Reiki. And I was graphic designer for 16 years before that. And then I had many other jobs. I feel like I've lived like 9 lives. But I still feel like I have a lot to contribute. But during the pandemic, really made me unwind. I took a lot of time to pause, and the YouTube is what really helped me keep going. And it's what I've been wanting to do, but I've been putting off because I've been too busy driving around teaching all over LA. And so the pandemic really helped me to get, to take a pause from, felt like I was like on a hamster wheel, and get me to focus on YouTube, which I really wanted to do for a long time. But now I'm really going into it. In the last 2 years, I've been more consistent, but I want to be even more consistent. And now I'm adding physical things you can incorporate to your practice. And one of them is gratitude journal. And I created this, it's on Amazon. And I want to share the inside page. So I have different quotes, inspirational quotes. It's kind of hard to see, huh? I'll get a better yeah, I think you can see gratitude journal, what I'm grateful for. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. You can say it's undated, so you can date. It's good to do every day, but on some days it's okay to skip. So it's undated, but it's 108 days worth of journaling. And that makes for a good keepsake to look back. And I love using this purple pen, and it initially has a space to first pages. Oh, it's too bright to see. This says this gratitude journal belongs to. And at the bottom, there are little quotes. So hard to read, sorry. Little quotes that I'm going to do another video that shows you shorts video to really show you what's on these. I don't know why it's not focusing. So I have different quotes for 7 days. So is find gratitude in the little things. And then the first section is today I'm grateful for. And I like to write with, oh, it's so hard to see. I like to write with this purple pen. Then decorate it with little gold things. So I like colored in the heart and then put little sparkle by the Reiki. So, and then I also have a section where you can reflect on things that brought you laughter and things that brought you joy. So these are sections you can write. You don't have to fill this out every day, but it's just to help you focus on more things. And once you keep a gratitude journal like this, it's gonna help you to look for more to laugh at, things that brings you joy, so that you can write it down either at the end of the day, or if you're doing this in the morning, you can write what brings you joy in general and what brings you laughter in general. So it doesn't have to be what you laughed today, or maybe like as soon as you woke up, something happened that made you laugh. So these things are great to do when you first wake up or right before you go to bed. Those are the best times to do the gratitude, or you can keep it in your purse or tote bag, and whenever things happen, you can write it down. There's no rule. It's what works for you. And it also makes a great gift. And to link to order these are the description. And this also comes in hardcover. And you can write on the days that you don't have things to be grateful for. You can simply write the breath that's available for me, running water, simple things that we often take for granted because there are many countries still that don't even have running water. So think about those people. And sometimes we forget some certain conveniences that's available to us. And you can write that, or simply the sun, or just getting another day to be alive. And you can write the same thing every day. So, you don't have to come up with different things all the time. And just be one word. It doesn't have to take that much time. And then see what happens. And I've noticed a huge difference between the times that I keep the gratitude journal, and there's something about actually writing it out on a physically. And like I said, you don't have to do these colored pencils, but that's just me. I love color, and that's the artist in me that still likes to keep things more creative, which is why I created another journal for creativity as well as gratitude. So that one has 7 days of gratitude. 7 things to be grateful for each day. It's also undated, and it's to help you really let yourself be seen. And there's a blank space for you to jot down any inspirations that came, writing ideas for creative inspiration, thoughts, inspiring quotes that you came across, or affirmation you want to set for the day. So there's free space for you to draw, or sometimes you can just draw what you're grateful for. So that's coming up. It's still in approval, so I can't really show it to you yet. But once it's approved, it's also going to be linked in the description once I have that. And if you go to the gratitude journal link, if you just go to Turtle Flow, the author, everything I create from here on will show up under the author page. So you can always find it that way. But I'll definitely let you know once that second gratitude journal is out. So this one is more for joy. That's why I'm featuring this today. This is to help you cultivate more joy. And I find that when you keep a gratitude journal, physically writing it down, there's some magic that happens that helps to get you out of the rut when things are really challenging. And also when great things happen, oftentimes we don't give ourselves credit. So it's also appreciating little things that happen that helps you keep moving forward towards your goals and dreams, whether it's personal or professional. And you're gonna see a huge difference once you connect to gratitude and writing it physically. And I'm also somebody that learns by writing. So even when I was in college, I was one of those people, like a nerd, that had those big pen, BIC, pen that had the 4 colors, red, green, blue, and black. And I used to color code my notes, my lecture notes. So that's just me. We're that way. And my writing has gotten a lot messier than back then, but it's also a really neat writing too. So in closing, I had a request by a dear soul fam of this channel, Nicola, who has asked me to share my journey in transitioning out of a 9 to 5 jobs. But before I get into it, I wanted to preface that finding your authentic creativity is not about changing your job or profession. It's to find that authentic creativity within you to contribute to the world, but it doesn't have to be on a professional level. So I want to really preface that all these things I'm sharing to help you tune in. And then oftentimes it does lead to professional shift and it could become your life. So I'm very grateful for all these opportunities that are out there nowadays, that when you set mind to it, motivation, hone your skill and dedicate to yourself, there are a lot of opportunities to make the life that you dream of online. And we're moving into that new earth energy, the 5D energy, where we're sharing ourselves authentically, creating what we're authentically here to create, and supporting each other on a more community level instead of depending on these big corporations for a 9 to 5 job. So we're definitely moving into that's the energy, the collective energy of where we're going. But in order to do that, we all have to show up individually, do this work. And one of the things that you can really do is doing these practices to see what brings you joy. That's the first step. And then dedicating yourself to it a day, like few minutes a day. So it could just be a few hours here, a few hours there, and then being grateful for what you have. So the 9 to 5 jobs that you might hate, you have to be grateful for it, for supporting you right now. So that's the mindset you have to have in order to transition out of it. And some people are meant to be in a 9 to 5 job. Some people are not. So it's learning about and being honest with who you are, what your comfort level is, because for some people, not having a 9 to 5 job can just bring so much anxiety because it's not secure. You need that security, knowing that you get this constant paycheck at certain date a month. And if you're more in that logical, more realistic personality type, I know that MBTI is very popular right now. Most empaths, the very few percentage of the creatives, are going to be more in the introvert side, more spontaneous, non-planning, artistic. So those types usually actually feel suffocated when we're in a 9 to 5 job. And in terms of my journey, I've never really been a 9 to 5 type of person. So before I got into teaching yoga, I was my first job, I was always in retail because I like to be standing. I like to interact with people. Back then, I used to get a lot of energy from interacting with people. I used to love fashion. And I wanted to be a fashion buyer designer when I first started out, my first career out of university. And believe it or not, I majored in business from the University of Southern California, USC, go Trojans. But I've never I've never had a 9 to 5 job to start with in the beginning. And then eventually that led to me going into school for graphic design. So I've had many jobs. In between jobs, I've had a lot of temp jobs. So that's like 9 to 5. And I'm a night owl also. So my creativity, the best time when I get into this creative mode, the best time when I come up with things are really late at night, like most creatives. And so when you have this 8 to 5 jobs, or one time I temped at a Jewish school from 7 till 4, and that really threw my biorhythm off, and I was like a mess all day, and I could never get used to it. And even when I'm got into teaching yoga, the typical yoga is practice time is like sunrise, and I'm just not a sunrise person. And when I go to like trainings, I can do it, but that's not my optimal. So I've also learned to know that that is not me, and honoring the truth. But I have experienced it and know that there is magic in that. And I'm more of a sunset person, so I use the sunset time more for what most yogis would traditionally do during sunrise. And I also worked as a graphic designer for 16 years. So during that time, back and forth a lot between working for a company, whether it's freelance or permanent employee. But most graphic design jobs, for creatives, it's usually from 10 to 7, even if you have like a 9 to 5 type of situation, office hours. So you definitely get to go in a little bit later. So I designed mostly home entertainment, DVD, Blu-ray menus. And I have another page that shows you my work from that time, called My Sea of Dreams. So that's what I initially started with. But while I was going to school for graphic design, I held a 9 to 5 office manager job for a computer software company for a year or so. And then I've had many other jobs during those 3 years. I went to school for graphic design. So I worked full time, went to school full time. So, there are times when you have to sacrifice a lot and completely focus and do what's necessary to make that transition that you need to transition. And before I got to that point, something dramatic has happened, because I was in a very complacent comfort zone working at a bank. And then I got robbed at one point. And that was like a wake-up call, because I was being very complacent. So that's why the intuition, these messages come soft. The ego speaks loud, and when you don't listen, things happen to make a shift for you. If you're meant to do something and you don't listen to it and follow through, so especially if you have a purpose and a path on this spiritual journey, not everyone's going to be on that path. So just know that not everyone's going to go through that. So I don't want to scare you. But it's when we do these practices to get quiet, still, and listen to that intuition, those messages. Especially, this is a powerful time to do so this end year, as we wrap up 2022. And I feel like 23 is going to be a huge year for people to make a lot of shifts in their lives. So I really want to thank Nicola for asking this question to offer and share my experience. So I had to do that in order to become a graphic designer, which I always wanted to do something creative. And I was denying myself doing these other jobs. But some people are meant to be in these 9 to 5 jobs, bringing light and joy and creative solutions to help other people maybe you could be a lawyer that represents musicians, or you could be an accountant that helps and support creative person be their best selves. And if that's what you're good at, that's what you should follow. Hold on, let me just so again, I'm just sharing my journey because I was requested by our lovely soul fam. So whenever I get a request, I do my best to fulfill. So I hope it's helpful, but it's probably not the answer you're looking for. But just be aware of all these programs and people trying to sell you that you can make these thousands of dollars so quick. Everything takes dedication, work, and times people just have natural instincts. And also everyone has their soul contracts of what you are here to contribute or go through. So that plays a lot into it too. So some people, like I said, are meant to be in a 9 to 5 job. But for most empaths, creatives, artists, you're going to feel very, it's become like a joy killer. Excuse me. So, getting back to my story, I'm definitely not a 9 to 5 person, but I have had those jobs. And when I do have those jobs, I'm very dedicated and I'm a really good worker. And there was a point in my life that most of my life I've been a workaholic too. So when I was in graphic design, I really loved it. So I was doing motion graphics. So transition, you always want to find ways to transition, know what your toleration level is to risks, and not having this regular paychecks coming in. And there's no shame in going back to a 9 to 5 job if you try to get out of it and then didn't make it and you need to go back, you know? So I've gone back and forth a lot in my journey. And again, the goal is not to leave a 9 to 5 job. If that's a soul killer for you, joy killer for you, and you really want to get out of it, then make a plan. Start developing skills, dedicating few hours, few minutes a day towards developing the skills or connections necessary. So it's sometimes taking courses, just watching different YouTube channels, YouTube videos on it, and working on your craft. And then no matter how amazing the artists are, I didn't plug in my plug-in. I'm running out of battery in my laptop, so I'm gonna wrap this up fairly quickly, but I want to answer the question completely before I log off. So as far as yoga goes, yeah, so when I decided to take my first teacher training, I went through before that I went through a depression after a breakup. And even though I still loved graphic design, I was doing it for 16 years and I went through the whole birth and the whole cycle of a DVD design, DVD Blu-ray menu design cycle from birth to extinguishing, and once all these streaming services came about. So those were really joyful times. I was very social. I had a lot of great friends that worked in the industry. It did bring a lot of joy, but it's also a very hard work, a lot of hours, a lot of overtime. And when I'm really into something, I have to be very obsessive about it. And like I said, I did have a workaholic tendency. So when you're in that tech related industry, everything changes so much. You always have to keep up with it. So I used to work 10 hours a day, And then I would go home, even when I had a 7 to 10, 7, 9, I mean 10 to 7 p.m. job. I would go home and work on learning keeping up with all the softwares, so that when I go to work, I can work really fast and know the software ins and out with all the latest tips and tricks. So yeah, it was pretty intense time. I started getting a lot of migraines. And then I went through this period where I went a lot of back and forth between freelancing, working from home. So that industry really allowed me to kind of go back and forth between working for a company or as a W-2 employee, or you can be a freelancer, contract work, going in. So I had a combination of that. And then there were times where I was just work from home as a contract work and just going in to turn work in or have meetings here and there, but mostly doing all the work from home. And I find that I did my best work and I did the best when I worked from home and I was the healthiest. And then, but it's not sustainable sometimes. So, when certain opportunity comes, it led me to go back to working 9 to 5. And then that was like the last place that I worked as a full-time, working full-time as graphic designer. And then I went into working freelance again on site, which led me to discover yoga. And once I decided to leave the full-time job, I did freelance again, but on site while I did the teacher training. And then when I first did the teacher training, I had no intention of teaching yoga. And I just wanted to get over my depression. I wanted to really go into, I initially went to support a friend who was having a back pain issue. And the yoga studio happened to be literally across the street from where I was working. So it was convenient for me to go with her and support her. And then I had the opportunity to go to Tulum and do teacher training with Brian Kess of Power Yoga. And that was like life-changing. So initially, I wasn't planning on becoming a teacher, but I just wanted to deepen my practice and have that experience. So again, when you just follow your heart, follow your joy, what heals you. And that's also what helped me get out of depression, along with therapy, psychotherapy. And then I quit the 10 to 7, the full-time job as graphic designer, but went into freelance gig on site. And then that eventually led me to second teacher training, because something inside just shifts and you get deeper into the studies, the practice, and then naturally leads you to other trainings, other synchronicities that come together that lead you to the path. So it's about dedicating yourself to this, listening to that whispers, the inspirational messages that come through, the guides that come through, starting a gratitude journal. That all led me to my second teacher training with Yoga Works with my mentor, Kia Miller. And that's what put me onto the path of teaching yoga professionally. And then when I first started teaching professionally, so I was going to teacher training that for the 6 months, I saved up enough money so I could quit the job and go into it. And after I finished, I went back to graphic design, but on a part-time basis on site. And then I was taking a lot of sub positions
and eventually led to my own classes, and then building and doing corporate yoga, private, and building into my own full-time yoga teaching. But of course, I had to cut back on a lot of different expenses. It's a huge income shift. So when you go through these changes where you have to give up a lot of income potential, you have to really be honest with yourself about what's important to you, what brings you joy, what you can live with, what you can't live with. And material things weren't as important to me at that point. And I was just using a lot of my savings to support myself, as well as a part-time job, and just dedicating and focusing into my teaching and building, and dedicating into my own practice. So those are the things that are important. And then that also led me to more continuous training. I discovered restorative yoga during that time, during my 300-hour training with Yoga Work. So I learned about the importance of relaxation and pausing. So while I was still doing graphic design, I was going, after my training, when I went back to graphic design, every Friday night I was at the restorative yoga class in Santa Monica with Chris Stein. And that's what really it's the beginning, and then it led me to restorative teacher training with my teacher Julian Pransky, and really fell in love with this art of relaxation. And I know how much that supports creativity and the healing journey, and being more true to yourself. And so when you dedicate yourself, sometimes when you just leap, the net will appear. That's such a true. And always just maintain this attitude of gratitude, to keeping in tune with what brings you joy, no matter how hard things are. And transitions and changes are very uncomfortable. And a lot of times we stay stuck in this 9-to-5 job because that's what we know, that's what we're more comfortable. So even though something might not be serving you anymore, that comfort is what keeps you there, because change is scary. The unknown is scary. But just know that you have to take the pressure off of you and redefine what success means to you, instead of what the society tells you. And getting rid of that expectation by others, but honoring what brings you joy, being very true to what you can handle on an anxiety level, as to whether you can handle not having a stream of income that's very regular, and then what you're willing to give up. And then eventually that will lead you to more abundance. And abundance means being able to do things when you want to do it. So it's not about having a lot of money in your bank account, because when I made the most money, I was the most sick physically also. I went through I even had shingles. My stress level was really high. But it doesn't have to be like that. Like, we're moving into this new, abundant, joyous era where we can support each other, be healthy, and all these tools are available for you nowadays. We're going into this information age. So we want to use technology. We don't want to just think it's bad. I know there's a lot of debate between all these technological advances being bad. And we want to honor nature, but at the same time, know that we are advancing technologically. And these technical tools can really bring the world together. And now you can connect with people from all over the world through devices like YouTube. And this life got much longer than all my other lives, because I wanted to answer this question thoroughly. And even though I started late, so I really appreciate you listening to all the rest of this live. So yeah, so that led to Reiki, and now I'm focusing on creating things online. So it's always being with change, listening to your heart, knowing what you can handle, what you can't handle. And it's okay. You want to do anything you can to ease through the transitions, whatever you can create, situations you can create. Like I said, I had a part-time job for a long time, that for like almost a year, while I was teaching and slowly transitioning into teaching full-time. And then teaching full-time, even though I was in an office job, I was driving a lot. So in the pandemic, I really got to really evaluate that I don't want to drive like I was during these last 10 years of teaching yoga. So now for me, it's not about 9 to 5 or not. It's more about driving, not driving or driving, especially in LA. I calculated, because once I took a stop and pause to look, I realized that I was spending about 30 hours a week driving, which is more than I was teaching. So that's because I was just saying yes to everything, and then I eventually started to just teach more on one side of the town. But the traffic in LA can be gruesome, especially Friday evenings. So it's about like changing schedule to serve me while I can show up the best to serve others. So always fill your cup first before filling other people's cup. That's also important. And please share with me what you want to create. If this helped you, I know it's not the answer you might want to hear, but anything that tells you like you can do this and make easy money quick without doing anything, you always have to be wary. But we definitely can bring more abundance by creating what you're here to create, and then let it just work for you. So that is possible to do. I'm not saying it's not possible to do. But also know that there's work and dedication that does go into it, but you want to do it with joy and with the purpose of what you're creating. So when I created this gratitude journal, I infused a lot of Reiki energy into it so that you can manifest and create the life of your dreams by cultivating joy and gratitude, grateful heart. So you're leading a more heart-based life. So I hope that helped. And I'm going to end it here. If you have any more questions or would like me to elaborate, like I said, I've had many jobs, and for me to go through everything would be like all day, because I'm kind of quite up there with the age. So know that it's not too late to start something new at any age with the era that we're in. And platforms like YouTube and a lot of online course opportunities, online products that you can offer really helps you to reach the whole world. So there are 6 people in the world, and if we're just 1 or 2% of that is the empaths, highly sensitive people, a lot of people to connect to. So we can all find each other through platforms like this and community like this. So I just want to thank you for being here. And if you're new, please say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from, what you got out of this. Thank you for listening. If you made it all the way here, put a coffee cup icon emoji in the comments. Thank you so much. wishing you the happiest holiday season. And I'll be coming with more to support you through the end of the year. And let me know. Just share your story too with others here. And whatever you celebrate, whether it's Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah, or if you don't celebrate the holidays, New Year's Eve is my favorite holiday. It's something exciting about that last day of the year and starting fresh with the new year. So, and with the fireworks, I love watching the fireworks from all over the world. I think Sydney, London, Dubai, they do those elaborate ones. So, cheers for a great holiday season. Wishing you more joy. And I'm here to support you to be your most authentic, creative self. And just go through my playlist of different practices. Pick one that resonates with you. Try to do it every day for the next till year end. Just do one that resonates with you, whether it's meditation or yoga practice, short or long. So thank you so much. Happy holidays again. Happy New Year. But I'll definitely be posting more. But this is the last Yogi Tea Time 32 Joy of 2022. So I will see you next year, 2023, for the Yogi Tea Time episode 33, which is kind of auspicious because 33 is a master number for creativity. And we're going into year 2023. So I'm very excited to do more growth for creativity with you here and share your favorite music also. I love to know. And just be kind to yourself, kind to everyone, and take time to rest and hibernate. It's hibernation season, and even though in California we don't have real winter, I still, especially when I had the 9 to 5 jobs, and was more social, I tended to hibernate during this time of the year. A lot of family stuff can come up also, so have a wonderful time with your family, good food, and definitely take the time to go within, find your inner sparkle. And if you need some support, extra support, I also offer one-on-one Reiki, virtual Reiki. All the links are in the description, and please share with anyone who might need this information. And thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting. I think I kept the whole thing on 4 agreements this whole time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to end it here. So we're going to end an hour and a half. It's the longest yogi tea time, I think, to end the year. And thank you so much for your support, for being here, being part of this community. Looking forward to next year with you. And aloha and bye. Oh, let me end with playing my end screen. Sorry. Bye.